The next section is what the hell do you want? Passion. The word passion originally comes from the Latin pati, which means to suffer. You read that right. So before you go out there and follow your passion, which to be honest is shitty advice, really think about what this means. What is it that drives you? Think of your center, your values, that lights you up so much that you can't not do it. What is it that is painful not to do? For me, it's storytelling. There was a point in my life where I would say art, but I feel like the only reason that I got into art was that I realized that I could tell stories with it. So really, stories are what really drive me. Anywho, what is it that you are willing to suffer for, i.e., to work for, even when it's hard? Seth Godin calls it the dip, when you are working on an idea or a project and you get past that first initial stage where, it's that excitement of the new idea and things finally start getting hard, and that's where a lot of people give up. But if you can just get through the dip, usually you're good and you can see it through to the end. That doesn't mean it's going to be a worthwhile project in the end, and sometimes that happens, but you'll only know if you get through it. I wrote a novella in July 2020 only to realize by the end that it was just a hot mess, but that was the first full draft of anything that I've finished ever. So I feel like that was like the purpose it served. What is it that you are willing to suffer for, i.e., to work for even when it's hard, to sacrifice that all important resource, your time, for? Because when you say yes to something, you are saying no to something or many somethings else. FOMO is real, y'all. Also, it's important to note that no one said that a passion has to be something you turn into a career, or that you can't be passionate about something that you just aren't any good at, like me and video games. And also, if you are an anime fan and you've seen Ushio and Tora, I absolutely love the fact that Ushio loves painting so much, but he's so terrible at it. You could tell that it really lights him up and he loves doing it. But yeah, his paintings look like Potato Jesus, basically. I love that. Anyway, what gets you super excited in a hell yes kind of way, even if it's something that you are afraid to cultivate? So for me, it's storytelling, making characters. Whenever I make stories, they revolve around characters. So I start with a character and then I'm like, okay, well, what kind of world do they live in? And how did this world influence, any traumas that they have and stuff like that? That's neither here nor there. If you've been holding back from doing something you love out of fear, which I have, again, I'm talking to myself, but if you are watching and this resonates, then I'm hoping this hits home. It may be strangely comforting to know that in 1,000 years, everyone you could possibly know in your lifetime that could come to hate you will be as dead as you, and we will all be long forgotten, including that shitty first novel you wrote. So really, the sky's the limit here. What is it about this thing that scares you so much? Why have you been holding back? I am afraid of... Honestly, I'm afraid of getting canceled. Basically having my livelihood taken from me, which is basically death. In Superstructure by James Scott Bell, he says in any story, the stakes that are there always revolve around some kind of death. So if I'm afraid of being canceled, that is a societal death. Humans are very social creatures. And, back in the day, if you lost your tribe, that would be a literal death. So a lot of times it's this fear of rejection. Rejection equals death, basically. If you're rejected by your tribe, you will die. Good luck surviving out there on your own. I'm talking about like ancient humans, but that fear is so deeply ingrained in us. So that's fun. What is the price that you are paying by remaining stuck in your comfort zone and not even trying to work on these things that your soul is yearning for? Depression, anxiety, but anxiety from thinking about being canceled, and a sense of unfulfillment. Is that a word? On the flip side, what could your life be like if you embraced your fear and moved out of your comfort zone to work on what's important to you? This is your dream space. There are no limitations here. How do you want to live your life? How do you want to feel on a regular basis? Also of note, we're talking about emotional feelings. So if you happen to have chronic pain or chronic illness, I do realize that that is a very body privileged thing to talk about feeling physically good if you don't deal with pain all the time. So if that's you, focus on your emotions and how can you make peace with your situation. So, all right, so I wrote, if I made Morningstar Academy, which is my comic, I would be able to A, feel fulfilled, and B, connect to other people through my story or stories. I want to live my life not ruled by fear, but moved into action by love. I want to feel free to create as I see fit. Time. Most people get about 4,000 weeks of life and then they die. Some people get less and some people get more. But on average, it's roughly 4,000 weeks. That's about 76 years. I'll let you do your own math. Of all our resources, time is our most precious because try as we might, we can't get a second of it back. So how are you spending your limited time? You can mentally go through your average day and hold it in your mind, or you can physically write it down over a day if you're feeling ambitious. I am spending way too much time on YouTube. Watching planner videos, which I love, but there's a limit, right? Online shopping, aimlessly browsing the internet. Does how you're spending your time align with what you said your values? Why or why not? And I specifically wrote this here for me. Example, if you name creativity as one of your values or even your center, how much time daily are you devoting to creative works, or does it get pushed to the wayside? I need to make more room for my creativity. And I mean creativity for creativity's sake, not to be sold. You know, I design things for Etsy. I wish I was more consistent, but mental health is hard. Most of us work 9-to-5 jobs, except for me. I am a work-at-home mom, but I wrote this in case I sell this. Most of us work 9-to-5 jobs and really aren't in the position to own our time fully when we're on the clock for someone else, and that's okay. We all need to pay the bills. But be honest now. How much time off the clock do you spend doing mindless potato-y things like scrolling through social media on your phone or binge watching Netflix or YouTube instead of doing something that you claim really matters to you? Hours of YouTube. I don't even watch Netflix enough. I feel like YouTube has just supplanted all of my media consumption. I'm like, oh, I have some time, I'm gonna watch planners. Oh, I feel depressed today and I can't do anything. I'm gonna watch people set up planners. I gotta stop. I feel like YouTube is the last final frontier of social media attachment that I have. Like I'm not really on Facebook. I never check my Instagram. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it. Unless it's, you kickstarted this thing and tweet about it. And or you get this points for this raffle, and if you tweet about it, I'm like, okay. Anyway, I have to limit my YouTube, and I think one of the things I'm gonna start doing is I can watch this video if I do this amount of work or something like that. Anywho, how much of your potato time are you willing to sacrifice upon the altar of your dreams so that you can finally lose that lame-ass excuse that you don't have enough time? Remember, passion equals to suffer. And I'm not saying that you need to actually suffer in order to feel fulfilled, and whoever says that is selling some bullshit. What I'm saying here is that in order to focus on what really matters to you, you will need to, as Derek Sivers says, steal time from your own comfort. You will need to give up some things that are getting in the way of and distracting you from what you want to do in the big picture. What will you give up now in order to make time for what you value most in the long run? Pro tip, never steal comfort from sleep. Sleep is a biological necessity, Kevin. Now shut up and go to sleep. This is coming from someone with insomnia. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. I didn't mean to wake up at 4 o'clock. It just kind of happened. It's like the only time that's quiet in my house that I can film. What will you give up now in order to make... So obviously the answer is time on YouTube. So trade off, I will do X amount of work. And by work, I mean either creative work or cleaning my fucking house. I will do X amount of work and then reward myself with a video. Okay, that was that. So, who do you need to become in order to get what you want?